Hi there everyone. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about fasting today because fasting has actually been one of my more popular videos. So there's obviously a need for more information out there. And the other reason is because I'm actually on the second day of my detox. So I'm on my second fasting day. Now, that doesn't look like fasting. There are so many definitions of fasting. So a lot of people take it very, very extreme and you're only allowed to have water, maybe some herbal tea. Sometimes people are on like a bit of a juice fast, so they're only having cold pressed juices or things like that. So fasting is quite broad. In fact, most of us are fasting hopefully every single day by just having an overnight fast when we're sleeping. The longer that goes for, the better. 12 to 14 hours is really optimal if you can manage an overnight fast. So I am not a big lover of fasting. It's not an easy thing for me to do because I derive a lot of my daily pleasure through food. I enjoy food. I love so many aspects of eating and sharing food with others, the communal aspects. And so depriving myself of that feels a little bit much at times, and almost a bit like I'm doing harm to my body by depriving myself of something that I enjoy. But as we can see in the world around us, just looking around, there's people that are definitely enjoying their food far too much. And so that is the other highlight of why fasting is so beneficial. There's definitely going to be a weight loss component if you have weight to lose. But mostly what I want to talk today is about the lesser known or lesser focused on benefits of fasting, which have become a little bit more apparent to me again in the last couple of days, having this experience again. I usually resist my fasting days and my detox. It's sort of the tough days, but there's so many underlying benefits, and particularly yesterday and today, I'm really experiencing those a lot more strongly this time around with my detox. So what are some of the benefits? Look, the first thing is I will just describe what sort of fasting I'm doing here. So with the detox program that I follow, it's a functional medicine detox. And so for the first 2 days, you actually have 4 shakes a day, and these are formulated nutritional shakes. So the idea here is that you are still giving your body the nutrition it requires without actually needing to ingest whole foods in any way, shape and form. Also eliminating from this formulated supplement any dairy, nuts, eggs, wheat, any products like that. So it literally is vitamins, minerals, protein, a little bit of energy source just for what you need to keep the system churning over, but keeping everything very, very minimal. So I love this because the scientific evidence behind this is that your liver will actually detox, which is one of the benefits of fasting, much more efficiently and effectively if it's given some nutritional support, rather than doing a pure not having any nutritional intake whatsoever. And it's also good because it makes me feel like I'm having something. I'm having sort of up to 600 mils of water plus the nutrition at a time 4 times a day. So your stomach is still getting something, so you're not feeling quite so deprived. And this has got a really nice, healthy, natural chocolate flavor, which is also a little bit enjoyable because I'm a huge chocolate fan and I've got quite a sweet tooth with my Vata disposition. So it's nice to have that chocolate flavor. So what are the other benefits? Look, for me, and a lot of this is personal for me, what I've explored over the times that I've been doing fasting, is it just gives me a sense of simplicity. You don't normally realize how much energy and thought goes into the food aspect of your day-to-day life, from the planning to the purchasing to the strategizing to the guilt trips of what I did or didn't eat that day, and the time that it takes to prepare food and make that time in your day. So when you're onto something so simple like a fasting program, that is removed from your day. So suddenly everything seems to just slow down, become very simple, and you really have some freedom in that. So you can have time to actually rest. It's very, very good to fast and rest concurrently, because if you're rushing around and doing your normal life and trying to fast during your waking hours at the same time, that can actually produce more stress on your body and more stress on your nervous system, and your fasting benefits won't be as profound. Whereas if you allow the body to go into a state of rest and recovery and rejuvenation when you're fasting, then those processes are going to work so much more effectively, because that overall pool of energy that you have each day is not being shunted off into other activities, and your body can refocus its energy and stores on repair and replenishment. So time opens up, and it's just a great excuse to just be a little bit more inward, spend some time with yourself in your home, maybe read a book, watch some Netflix. You have full permission to binge on Netflix when you're fasting. It's a great thing to do because you're resting your body. Just try not to consume any overly violent content, because that can actually aggravate your nervous system as well. And that way as well, if you're feeling any symptoms from fasting, such as headache or nausea or just deep fatigue, then you're actually already in place where you can listen to your body and follow those instructions of just resting, having a nap, laying down, and taking it easy. The other thing it highlights that I've also just touched on a little bit at the start of the video is it might bring up for you some of your emotional attachments to food. The whole concept out there of being a hangry person. I've been labeled as hangry. I kind of wear that badge with pride, actually, because it's actually been shown to be a genetic predisposition. So there's actually a gene for being hangry and having that predisposition to feeling a little bit aggro and aggressive and pent up if it's been a while since you've had any food, or if it's a while till you will be having any food. In the job that I do day to day, being stuck in an operating theatre, it definitely hasn't served me very well in my hangry regard, because sometimes I literally don't know when I'm going to get out to eat, and I can be stuck in there for a long time without any nourishment and food. And so it really lights those fires for me to get a little bit hangry at times. But there's a lot of other emotional attachments we can have to food. Another one I've got is joy and happiness, and pleasure. And so that's also an attachment with food. And sometimes if that gets out of control, then you start getting abnormal behaviors around food. You start eating more of the things that we should only be eating in small amounts, and your health declines, your weight goes up, your energy bottoms out, your sugar control gets really bad. So there's a whole lot of consequences of that. So when you're fasting, all of that is kind of really put into perspective. And for a lot of clients that I take through fasting for their first experience on a detox like the one I run, or any sort of program, when they're confronted with fasting for the first time, there is so much that comes up for people. And I just try and drum down that, with a program where you're getting your nutrition at least, just consciously know intellectually in your mind that you are getting the nutrition you need if you're on a nutritional program for your fast. And just know that anything that's coming up is likely to be an emotional response to patterns and behaviors that you've put in place with food, or maybe, they're just beliefs that you've taken on from your parents or society around you. So it's a really interesting time to journal if you're getting a lot of emotions coming up, and just constantly reconnect and reframe with yourself that anything that's coming up during your fasting period, any toxic emotions, then they're better out than in, and just let them process, let them be. Just be the sort of watcher, be that sort of higher level of your consciousness that's kind of looking at those things and just allowing them to be there. Like you kind of allow a 4-year-old child to have a little tantrum, it's going to pass. So just be there, be compassionate with yourself, and allow those emotions to flow rather than try and suppress them. And another thing that it also highlights is habitual patterns with food. So getting into those patterns of always needing something sweet after dinner, for example, always feeling like you need to have a certain breakfast every day. It might be eggs on toast, or bacon and eggs, or a pastry, or whatever it might be. When those things are removed, and they might be removed for a couple of days, suddenly you get this feeling that it's not a need anymore. I always thought that I kind of needed that to function. And it's a little bit of a belief that you've got that is not actually serving you necessarily. So on these times when you're fasting, some of those habits that aren't really serving you to the full extent that you believe they are can be highlighted. And it's an opportunity to have a look at those things. They're removed temporarily, which is really powerful. So you have the power to bring them back. But sometimes you might choose not to, or you might choose to just leave that little habitual pattern out for a little bit longer and monitor how you feel, and the consequences in your energy, in your mood, and just your general day-to-day well-being. Do you need that croissant in the morning? I have croissants every so often. I love them. You know, I absolutely adore delicious food, but it's whether it's serving you on a day-to-day basis. And so sometimes fasting and removing those things can highlight those little habits that you might have around food, particularly afternoon snacking. You know, if you're eating a healthy, balanced breakfast and lunch, whatever form that takes, you really shouldn't feel the need of having a snack at that sort of 3 o'clock, that 3:30 itis, needing that coffee, needing that boost. It's more a sign that your system is very, very depleted, perhaps chronically in many cases, or that your stress levels are just far too high and they're just wearing you out. So great opportunities to really reflect and look at what's going on for you and changes that you might make. So that's my kind of side benefits of fasting while I'm here enjoying my second of my 4 shakes for today. So it's a really great topic, and just know that if you're not enjoying fasting in your waking hours, then that's okay. You're not meant to enjoy fasting, but we don't always enjoy the best things for us. So it's just one of those things that the reward is far greater than any temporary sort of suffering or discomfort. And that's why I keep coming back to this practice. I hope you're having a great day, whatever you're up to. Take care of yourself, and please feel free to subscribe to the channel to get extra content every single week. And if you've got any questions on this topic, please feel free to shoot me a question, and I'll be really happy to answer it or deal with other topics that you're interested in the future. Take care. Bye.